Good morning, USA. I got a feeling that it's gonna be a wonderful day.
We got the sun in the sky, and hey, sorry, I'm not the host. I'm just guesting. And Chris is on mute.
Hello. We're fine. Everything's fine.
How are you?
Fine. We're good. I'm great. Hello, everyone. Welcome to News and Views Week 2 of our little relaunch, reboot, sequel, series thing. My name is Anthony Lopez. Joining
Week
me.
2, and you've already had layoffs.
Yeah.
Speaking of layoffs, no, just kidding.
Yeah, speaking of layoffs, that's horrible. Jesse Swift is subbing in for Scott Fox this week. Jesse Swift, what's poppin', dog?
Hey, yo. What is poppin'? I thought I had a funny joke to make off that, and I don't. It's just early for me, personally.
Yo, who you telling, dog?
I'm telling the guy that's at least an hour or so ahead of me.
I typically, at least the last few weeks, I've been waking up around this time every Saturday, hence why here, News and Views. But before that, literally all last year, I would wake up on Saturday at like 1 in the afternoon. Like my day started in the afternoon. But, you know, we're here. We're hanging out doing News and Views. Whether you're watching live or you're watching after the fact, thank you so much. Before we do anything, before we talk about anything movie related, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button on this video. Hit subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications every time we post videos. Or we go live. That'd be great too. But we have a ton of fun stuff to talk about today on the channel and some not so fun stuff because some of our favorite things continue to disappoint us every single time they get to do so, and that'll affect many people for the worst reasons, and then it will just inconvenience some of us. We'll talk about that when we get there. But first, per usual, as in like this is only the second week we've been doing this, it's time for the newly named, shout out to Garth Murray, the Scott Fox office. The Fox office. We're gonna just talk about the box office from last week. If there's anything coming up that might interrupt some things going into this week, but even though I'm pretty sure next week's where the money is going to be made, literally. But just to give you guys a quick recap of what happened in the box office last week, we did get Avatar dethroned. Avatar ended up being third because I told y'all don't count out 80 for Brady. Knock at the Cabin was number one though, grossing $14 million. 80 for Brady was at $12 million, just under 13. Avatar came in with 11.3, has the legs like it's nobody's business. Apparently there's a BTS thing in theaters last week. I had no idea, but BTS is like the biggest pop group on the planet.
Oh, I thought you were talking about behind the scenes for Avatar. I was like, oh, just give them more money, sure.
No. You know, the pop group containing seven of those dudes, and I've seen, ironically, I was at a music festival last year where one of those dudes headlined. It was the craziest day of my life, and I didn't even go see him. That was the crazy part. But BTS, yet to come in cinemas, was at $8 million, and then Puss in Boots, the cat who is definitely stretching out that ninth line, is at 5 with $7.8 million. Jesse Swift, you know, isn't it crazy seeing Avatar finally get dethroned after what was almost 2 months straight?
Roughly a year, yeah. No, that's nuts. And I didn't want to interject with my M. Night being the one who knocks joke, but there it is. It's not. I was vaguely curious about seeing that movie. None of the reviews have brought me into seats. And what's crazy to me is we are approaching. We're not there yet, but by next week we'll be at the halfway mark of the month. And if it wasn't for the fact that Everything Everywhere All at Once re-released in theaters, I wouldn't have been in theaters this month until Ant-Man, at least. So, and then January, I only saw Megan. And I'm like, wow.
Megan was number 6. Megan, no, I lied, was number 7, 3.8. A Man Called Otto was number 6, 4.2 over last weekend. But the box office so far has not been kind to anything if your name's not Avatar or Megan. Like, and Puss in Boots. Because that was just like the sleeper movie of the year so far. Yeah. Apparently, I mean, to me, it came out of nowhere. I knew it was happening, but I didn't know how much love it was going to get. Like, to me, we kind of all expected Avatar to make money. Let's be real. Whether we like the franchise or not, it was going to make quiche.
Cameron made an idiot out of me. I was trying to be like, there was people that were saying Avatar was going to bomb, and I was like, you're high on drugs.
That was never going to happen. Never.
I was like, it's not cracking 2 billion. I was like, I think it's going to make a nice, comfy, like 1.3, 1.4, which for any other movie would be incredible, but it's not getting anywhere near the original. Well, whenever James Cameron releases a movie now, I'm just going to say live and let die.
Yo, at this point, we almost have to expect, like, I know we talked about this on the show last week, but it's worth reiterating again. Like, James Cameron is almost like an event movie director. Like, regardless of what the subject matter is, regardless of what the actual thing is with all of this, with all his movies, his name alone is going to attract quiche. And I believe this weekend, and now that I'm thinking about it, it's the re-release of Titanic. So next week on the show, we'll talk about those box office numbers if people went out to go see that again. And Magic Mike: The Last Dance. So it's something in this in this James Cameron monopolized box office that it's so crazy to me. Because like for us, like of course, like for all of us who like movies more than the masses, more than the general public, like we already know, oh, James Cameron's gonna make money. But re-releasing Titanic, those are the numbers I am fascinated by. But is there anything else on this thing, Jesse, from the box office that intrigues you in the slightest?
Correct me if I'm wrong, and I will get into some of the ones listed there, but is there only 2 sets of directors in the top 5? The Russos and James Cameron?
Like all-time grossing? Here, let's find out.
For the top 5, because I mean we got Avatar 1 and 2, right? Titanic. So we got 3 Camerons. And what are the other 2? Endgame's 1. And then I don't remember what 5 is.
Well, let's find out real fast. All-time grossing. And by the way, all the numbers I've been saying are domestic, not all-time, not for inflation, because apparently we don't count inflation.
Yeah, we're not talking about Gone with the Wind or, well, Titanic's already there. If you're counting inflation.
Okay, here we go. So Avatar, Endgame, Titanic, The Way of Water, and The Force Awakens.
Okay, so we got Abrams in there. Abrams snuck into top
20, 20, is that 20? No, 200 million. Numbers are hard. 200 million separates them.
Well, when Avatar 3 comes out, then it'll be James Cameron and the Russos.
when they re-release Infinity War and Endgame for the anniversaries in a few years.
I'm gonna go see those like strictly out of I think protesting. Yeah, spite. Because like it's all fine and cool that Avatar made all this money, but like I just think it's rude that they've re-released it 5 times and it keeps counting. I'm like, I was like, dude, stop counting. Like, take your money, but stop adding it to whatever records these are. It's
and the crazy part is like those are all Disney movies. Like Disney.
That's true.
Like Disney just has all that stuff. And I mean, at one point it was just Avatar was with Fox, and at one point so was Star Wars a long time ago. But now everything's Disney, so Disney don't care.
No.
And Kevin Feige, the Russos, they don't care. The only people that care are us.
If I was Scott, I'd be saying Kevin Feige. He says something different every time.
I don't want to get off on a tangent, but I watched. I want to say it was. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Jesse. You probably know better than I would.
My favorite thing.
Is it Happy, Sad, Confused? The Josh Horowitz podcast.
That sounds right.
And he had Penn Badgley on the show.
Oh, you're talking about recent interviews?
Yes.
Where he was just like,
he was asking about Fantastic Four, and he either played it super well for the camera or he genuinely didn't know. He's like, "Oh, Kevin, how do you say his last name?" Like it was. He was. I'm like, Penn, don't lie to me, dude. Like, don't start with all this stuff.
And there's some people that are like, after the interview, they're like, Penn Badgley confirmed. I'm like, I don't know, that's a stretch.
I don't know about confirmed. I'd be cool with it though. I'm down. I'm down for Penn Badgley. Sean in the chat. What's going on, Sean? Garth, I see you in the chat as well. Hello, good morning, or good evening, depending on where you're at. I think Garth said he's East Coast, so almost good afternoon to you, Garth. But Sean, y'all just watched the episode yesterday. Yeah, Hell yeah. I mean, I gotta watch more of that stuff. But before we get off on
Speaking
all
of
these
audio
crazy
podcasts,
tangents,
you can catch Allison Salomone's You've Never Seen It wherever you listen to podcasts, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that good stuff. You can find her talking about movies that she just saw for the first time with some really amazing guests. And she hasn't invited me on since Labyrinth, which was not long ago. But then we also talked about Tremors, which is fun. Chris, have you done a show yet for You've Never Seen It?
I've done Labyrinth.
That's right.
And that's it.
Okay.
Yes.
So to be continued.
I mean, I'm grateful for Labyrinth because they got to show me Labyrinth, and I also hadn't seen it, and I loved it.
Great.
But we're doing another one next month, and apparently I was told it was my choice. So we're all gonna watch Looney Tunes back in action.
Sean said, "Sir, we just did Dogtown." Listen, my memory in my old age is not the best.
Yes, so Jesse's over here like, I haven't been on that show. Dog, you've been on 3 times. You've been on more than the Movie Guys, and they're on every other week. So like, so cool it.
Hey,
cool
when
it.
we get the Movie Guys, our views pop off. So that's the news on those views.
Yo, but I love the Movie Guys because I appreciate their love of Harrison Ford from a distance. But one last thing on the Fox office. 80 for Brady, don't sleep on apparently I read this thing that may or may not be legit about women going out to see 80 for Brady. The women went out in droves.
Take your vitamins, get your butts in seats.
Yes. And it's like, that's great. You know, you have literally like an all-star team of a cast to start or to lead your film, right? Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, Sally Field, and Rita Moreno. And then you add Tom Brady into the mix. Off the heels of his retirement, that movie's gonna make some quiche. Outgross Avatar in 1 week. That is nuts. Like, that's crazy. I was memeing it last week, but I'm over the moon that this movie exists and that it made some type of money. Good for them. Good for everyone involved. They deserve it. And I love it. I love it. But the Fox office. Oh yeah, I probably should mention. Scott's just out of town this week. That's why he's not here. I promise you, I didn't drive him away after one show, but he should be back. If I'm not mistaken,
confirm.
I want to say in 2 weeks. So I want to say he's out next week.
Yeah, he's out next week, which conveniently, I'm available again.
There you go. So we'll have Jesse Swift, Scott Fox back on the program next week to talk, and we're gonna be talking about some big fun stuff, especially with the box office next week. But Jesse, you already know what time it is, big dog. It's time for the news. So we have a ton of things to go through news-wise, and we're gonna try, because last week we kind of went a little crazy. Daddy left us as he picked up the milk gap. Sean, that hits home, dog. They're busting the theaters from the nursing homes. Thank you, Garth, for that. But no, we had a ton of great discussion last week about DC and what they're doing in their future, and I know we're gonna talk about DC. We might talk about DC today. We're going to talk about DC today as well. But there's a bunch of other fun stuff I want to talk about real fast that I'll mention, and then Jesse will start us off. So speaking of DC, we got a new poster for The Flash, and we're getting a trailer during the big game tomorrow. Just a little tease of that poster. Look at that. Isn't that pretty nuts? So there's that. We have.
Only we could see that person's face. I wonder why they're hiding it. Ayo.
We'll talk about that in a minute. Apparently, a 17-year-old dude is shooting this movie called The Backrooms for A24, and it's based on a web series that was put onto YouTube. Same guy that directed it, but A24 is giving him a bunch of money, and he's shooting it, funny enough, over his summer break, which I think is awesome.
Speaking of what they did with Lights Out.
Yeah, in a way. Speaking of what you did last summer, I know what you did last summer. And they're getting the Legacy reboot, sequel, treatment thing. And both Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt are in talks to return. Because if you do one of those movies like that, you almost have to include them. Because what the hell? AMC Theaters is introducing, or already introduced as of this weekend, price tiering for seats. Because who doesn't love that? And also, Disney plans on sequels for Toy Story, Zootopia, and Frozen, and they also plan on laying off 7,000 people in this quarter. So, yeah. Jesse, what do you want to start with, dog?
Okay. Well, I will say this is the shystiest way that AMC could possibly advertise their AMC A-list option, which I've had for the last 4 years, and as far as I can tell, does not affect us.
Yes.
You get your tickets on the app, boom, bang, da da da. It's more so applies for people that just decide, hey, I'm going to go to the movies, and you're kind of getting penalized, I guess, for not getting ahead of it, which is what A-list allows you to do.
Yep.
I sympathize. I think it's really a low blow, crowbar to the knee, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. I hope it goes over about as well as Netflix's whole password fiasco did a week or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I anticipate for that. So we'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, AMC Theaters is my theaters. The only thing I have around here for the most part is AMC and Regal. The only Regals close to me are dumpster fires, so I do stick with AMC. Anyways, I know what you did last summer. I haven't seen the first one. I don't have a lot of opinions on this other than fan of Freddie Prinze Jr. You got, Fred from Scooby-Doo and then the Whisperer of Ghosts in a movie together. Again, that sounds like a great time. 17-year-old director, Backrooms. Like I said, kind of reminds me of Lights Out was a short on YouTube, I think, that David F. I always forget if it's David A. Sandberg or F. Sandberg, whatever. The Shazam director made a little short on YouTube and then got the green light to make a full-length feature.
I think you're confusing him with David S. Goyer.
Probably. Maybe. There's a lot of Davids and then like middle acronyms and things. So we'll see if, that's fun, right? For A24. So the assumption is if it's for A24, it's going to the theaters, right? So maybe we should...
Right.
If that Backrooms short is online somewhere, we should try to give it a watch at some point. But
here, let me stop you right there real quick, Jesse. Let's go back to the AMC theaters thing real fast.
Let's do it.
Because like you said, this sucks. Like this is not fun. And for those who haven't necessarily seen it, everyone likes going to the theater and getting I feel like everyone subconsciously knows where they want to sit, Like they go and they buy their tickets in advance and they look their little seat chart. Oh my God, I want to do whatever. And for me, I'm that person. That's me. I go to the theater and I want my seat. And if people are in my seat, they're jerks, for lack of a better word. That
for me, that's row D.
Like that's what's up. Like I like being in the center of the theater. So for those who want to now sit in the center of the theater, right there, boom, right, so you can see the middle of the damn screen.
Enjoy that premium.
Enjoy that premium charge with a few bucks, right? And then everything else around it is not as much. But if you sit in the front, that's the cheap seats. If you sit in the front row where literally no one wants to sit ever.
With theaters, it's the opposite of the nosebleeds. The cheap seats are the nosebleeds way up there. The cheap seats.
That's honestly preferred at this point.
Yeah.
But I hate this news, not only because, and I'm an A-list guy. So this, again, like what you said, Jesse, this doesn't affect me. And I don't want to sound like, oh, this news doesn't affect me. But seriously, for those who aren't subscribed, because this only works, A-list only works for one person. So for the Swift household, the Swifts have to pay 2 separate A-lists.
That's true.
So
you're looking at what, $50 a month roughly?
Yeah,
going
pushing
AMC
$50 a month, and just
they're not worried about
probably
us.
What, you all probably get your money's worth out of it.
These
2 or 3
last
times
2 months has been the only time we haven't, but 10 out of 12 months more than enough.
Word, and that's great, and that's where A-list rocks, and I love it so much. So AMC for the longest time was in my good graces. So I'm like, because to me, single man goes to the theater a lot, buys lonesome. AMC A-list just works. And then you introduce this garbage. Say I want to go see a movie with my folks, which happens every so often. And now they're already spending quiche on getting to the theater. They're out here paying for concessions. And I feel like I had this.
They're not going to want to sit by you anymore.
Right, because your boy's going to want to sit in the primo.
You're going to be up in the middle.
Right, because it's like granted, it's like a $2 difference. Sure, yeah, it's
$2 on top of a $15 ticket or whatever.
Exactly. So while it may not affect the A-list folks, you nailed it on the head, Jesse. It just encourages more folks to do the A-list thing. Which I want to know how long this is going to last if it stops. That's the thing, because Netflix. You mentioned Netflix. They scurried away back into their corner after a day. It took one day of that news, and Netflix is like, you know what? Hey guys, we're joking. We're kidding. We're only doing it in Spain. It's a kidding. We're kidding. Like we're not doing it in the States yet, but we're joking. No, it's like, stop. Like bullying sometimes works in these cases. AMC got bullied. And here we are for first weekend of tiered seating prices.
The optimist wants me to be like, well, it'd be great if it drives more people to have A-list, because I worked at the theater for a little bit, and I was shocked by the percentage of people that actually had A-list out of the amount coming in. I was like, wow, this is really picking up. But the thing is, there's a lot of people that's just not, doesn't make sense, because they see like a movie or two a year. Or my grandparents haven't been to the theaters for like 10 years. But someday something might come out and they're going to go see that one movie, right?
Yeah.
Top Gun or whatever it is. Why would they have A-list? Right? And why should they be charged a premium for showing up? And yeah, I hate it because even though it doesn't directly affect me, anything that affects the viewership in theaters, I feel like kind of affects me and affects the business, because it's something I pay a lot of attention to. So I would hate to see this kind of go, have AMC pissing upstream, and I don't know.
I mean, we're going to find out the hard way. I'm just pissed off because it's already tough enough for families to go out, for folks more than two, more than one, who are able to.
I'd love to hear Scott's thoughts on having a family of 5, I think.
And he mentioned it last week. Like it's I don't want to say it's a chore, but it costs some good quiche to get the whole family out. Because you're spending, if you're family of 4, you're spending at least $85 on tickets, just on tickets, let alone concessions, which you're gonna get.
Yeah,
right. You're gonna get your popcorns, you're gonna get your drinks, your ices, your candies, whatever. Unless you're like my mom, who brought a big ass bag full of her own stuff. But like, still, it's gonna cost you.
Gas station and pockets of M&Ms.
Right, some loose M&Ms in your bag. But that's
tater tots.
It's already a chore. It's already a chore. And it costs a lot of money to go, and now you're just making it more expensive for the casual people and a ploy to try to get people to join your service. Guys, I shouldn't feel bad for doing the movie subscription thing at my local AMC. I shouldn't feel bad. And somehow, some way, I felt villainized somehow. And not directly, but folks are like, AMC sucks. I love my Cinemark theater. Like, that's great. You can love your Cinemark, you can love your Regals. But like me, who the closest Regal to me is all the way up north Chicago. Like, I can't, like, it's like out of the way. All my theaters
I'm
AMC.
Dolby or bust, man. And
right.
So that's
Dolby's the way to go, dog. Dolby, shout out to Dolby. Last movie I saw in Dolby was Black Adam. That was an experience. But before we move on, shout out to some folks in the chat. Brandon Buck, what's going on, dog? Mike K in the chat, I see you. Top of the morning. Much love. And Garth, bringing the zingers. AMC always making cash, for better or for worse. For better or for worse.
Everyone finally started going to the theaters again, and I just don't think that this is the move to keep them coming. COVID was rough, right? Like, they should be, I think, maybe a little more gracious that their numbers are finally starting to come up, and find some other ways. Add 20 cents to your popcorn charge or something, something that goes a little less noticed, because people don't look at the prices anymore for concessions. They just know it's going to hurt.
Yes.
Right? But we're going to look at tickets when we get tickets. So
it's such a kick to the ego for us, and like what you said, now folks are gonna go elsewhere, or like a bunch of studios are doing now. They're gonna wait till the movie just pops up on HBO Max. Mike K agrees in the chat. Dolby is the way to go. It's the premier way to watch a film.
Mike K, another real one.
Yes, another real one. What's going on, Mike K? And then Mike Deacon, Mike to Mike. I got hit with the double ad as I entered.
All right.
Thanks for supporting the channel.
When we have a quarter of revenue we'll know it's just Mike sitting there watching some ads.
Yes. Speaking of the 20 cents that will go unnoticed, we'll notice that, Mike. Thank you. As long as you don't skip those ads, you gotta watch them. That's the Is that how it works? I don't really know.
I think you can still skip them as long as they are viewed. Like,
Oh, as long as they're played.
right. But
Isn't
there's
it
skippable
crazy?
and unskippable ones.
Isn't it crazy how now folks, like companies, are making ads that that they know you're going to skip? So they're like, oh, we only have 3 seconds to tell you about this. And then it's like, no, I'm still going to skip this garbage for, come on. What's the emu one? What's that one? It's some insurance company.
It is some insurance. I don't think it's not Progressive. It's one of the other ones.
No,
It's
it's
not
not
Allstate either,
Progressive.
but
No,
or State Farm. Damn.
Something like
That's
that.
the other one.
Yes, it's some other stuff. But
Moving on.
I feel like we can. Do you want to keep the bummer going? You want to keep talking about some bum news?
Just keep talking about some bums. Love talking about bums.
We can talk about some cheeks. We do love bums. We support bums over here at Flick and Reel. But
like Pedro Pascal's post-apocalyptic bums. We talk about those sometimes. Yeah.
Yes.
But
Liberty Mutual. Thank you, Mike Kane.
Oh yeah, Liberty Bibbity. Liberty Bibbity. That's my favorite ad in the whole world. Liberty Bibbity.
Liberty Bibbity. Yes. Yeah. Okay. And to add to the conversation from last time, Mike Deakins, my new local AMC doesn't have assigned seating.
Speaking of post-apocalyptic,
that's
prehistoric.
Awesome. Yeah, prehistoric. That's preferred, honestly.
Not for me. I get my tickets like a month ahead of time.
No hard feelings, Mike K. If you skip the ads, if anybody else skips the ads, that's the problem. But speaking of problems from the things that we enjoy, Disney. So they gave us a bunch of fun stuff, right, this past week.
On the tail of.
Yes. So there's a little investor call for the first quarter. And Bob Iger was like, Papa
Iger's making some moves.
We're going to do Frozen 3. Oh, okay. Word. Okay. Frozen 2 I thought was really good and somehow underrated. Folks, I think, forgot about Frozen 2. The soundtrack bumps. Zootopia 2. Yeah, sure. I didn't like the first Zootopia, but I'm willing to give the second one a shot if it were to come out, which it sounds like it is. And then Toy Story 5. Okay. Just the more
Toy Story is the franchise with more endings than Return of the King. Like 3 was like, here's the perfect ending, and then 4 is like, here's the post ending to the ending.
Every movie in the Toy Story franchise had a perfect ending. Every single one, from the first one to 4. Every one.
People feel differently about 4, but 4. I liked 4 quite a bit.
I love 4.
The cherry on top, it's like, okay, now Woody's going his own way. This is the end of Woody's story, right? And then Buzz is going here. Bonnie's going to grow up. Bonnie's still like a baby pretty much. And I was like, great. Okay, so this was the epilogue. This was the far from home for this franchise.
Yeah.
And then they're like, and 5. I was like, stop it. Stop. Take a nap, Disney.
Before we talk about the bummer of the news, which the bummer is Toy Story 5, by the way. I know, like Zootopia, people love Zootopia. That's great. And I'm not a fan personally, but I'm not here for it. But I will at least give it a shot. Maybe I gotta rewatch Zootopia with new fresh eyes now that I am a grown man, or at least is what I tell myself to go to sleep at night. Maybe I'll give Zootopia another shot. Frozen, like I said, Frozen just seems like it would get 3.
I was more interested in Frozen 3 after Frozen 2 than I was interested in Frozen 2 after Frozen 1. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. I totally buy what you're selling. And I'm in the same boat. Like
big summer blowout.
Frozen. I love the Frozen movies, and a third one just makes sense to me. It just makes all the sense. Toy Story 5, we didn't need Toy Story 4. We got it, and I loved it. Do we need Toy Story 5? No. I'm just scared they're going to bite off more than they can chew, and that this franchise will jump the shark. Because truly, Toy Story, and like the 4 mainline films, TV specials aside, streaming specials aside, whatever, these 4 movies are perfect as they stand. Like, I think you can poke little to no holes in all these movies, Toy Story 2 being my personal favorite of the bunch. But they're all great, and we're just pushing it. Lightyear, speaking of straight to Disney Plus
Wow.
flicks. I feel like
Should have been.
nobody saw that.
Should have been straight to Disney Plus.
Yeah, should have. Did anyone see that? If anyone did you watch it? Did you like it?
No. Listen, so it's one of those things. It's like it's not offensive. It's not like I walked down. I was like, "Wow, that was terrible," but I was like,
Yeah.
"That was nothing. That was like 2 hours of absolutely nothing." And,
Maybe,
yeah.
maybe Tim Allen was onto something. I'm kidding.
Chris
But,
Evans is not the problem. But you have so many things you could do. With somebody that grew up with Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, the animated series, and this is the movie you give me? No. Better. I demand more.
And I was just about to ask your chat if they've seen it. Mike K saw it, Garth McMurray saw it, and Garth said it's not great, but not awful. Mike said it's enjoyable enough as a standard sci-fi action flick, but Turning Red should have been the one playing in theaters. And
Agreed.
I haven't seen either one. Sounds like I'm watching Turning Red first.
You haven't seen Turning Red?
Mm-mm.
That's great.
And it's a favorite over here at the APT, folks. One of my roommates, she loves Turning Red, loves it.
I was trying to figure out what city was APT.
No. It's my apartment.
Yeah. Got it.
I rep the APT.
Yeah.
Yes, but Lightyear felt like remember when like the Avatar: The Last Airbender stuff ended and Nickelodeon was presented, or the creators were presented an option: do another season of Aang and Friends or make a movie. That's what this felt like. That's what Lightyear felt like. Do Toy Story 5 or do Lightyear and try to do something else. Try to do like a sci-fi adventure franchise. Then no one liked Lightyear. So then they went like, wait a minute. Let's just go back and do more with the toys.
No, what we were asking for is for you to stop. Pixar used to and can still be like one of the most creative and original studios. And it used to be they were known for how many sequels they didn't make, right?
Yeah.
There was only, it's like, okay, Cars got sequels and Toy Story got sequels, and like that was it. Now it almost feels like they're slowing down on steam, and when something's successful, they push forward on doing a sequel on that instead of more original things. And it's just, and I'm not going to be all depressed about it, but disappointed, I guess you could say.
No, I think it's totally valid. I believe we're getting a first look at something during the big game tomorrow for a film called Elemental. I believe it's what it's called.
Right, we've gotten a little quick teaser. I like the concept of it. That one sounds fun.
Yeah, and we're getting some more potentially during the big game tomorrow evening. So this
something that kind of has a love is love vibe to it.
Yeah. So we'll see how folks react to more, and maybe it's Pixar adjusting to its audiences or audience. Because, folks obviously love the 3 movies that we have scrolling at the bottom, but it's also a case of, do folks want the original, like, do the masses want the original stuff anymore? For me, it sounds like Turning Red looks great, and from what y'all are saying about it, sounds awesome. I loved Soul with my entire being. That movie had me sweating through my eyes when I watched it on a plane. So shout out to my buddies in the Cleveland area. Y'all caught me right after I watched Soul. But it's this experiment, I guess, of let's do more originals, and if they don't do well or if we're not happy with their performances, let's go back to what works.
I'm going to be the one saying Encanto is the best movie they've had in the last 10 years. I mean, that's
was that Pixar. A Pixar?
No, it's not Pixar. It's Disney, but Disney owns Pixar. I'm just saying in general, original.
I wish I can agree with you, dog.
No. So we just disagree on movies that start with E. Is that what we're at?
I'm like, Iron Man 3 doesn't start with an E.
But
no.
Eternals does.
Eternals and Encanto. Those came out the same month, didn't they?
No. Did they?
I'm pretty sure.
It's the year
because
that
I saw them both when I was living out here.
Okay, well. Let's get to the lead we buried with this story as mentioned previously.
Yes. So
because I have thoughts and I don't think everyone's gonna like them.
Sure. Okay. But quick thing, just to preface Jesse's thoughts. Along with this news, it was also announced that 7,000 people are going to lose their jobs at Disney, and it's just a part of them trying to make more money for the studios and for the parks and everything. Okay, great. But this has been a thing that has been happening across these big companies, right? Amazon and all these other big multi-billion-dollar joints. They're going to be laying off people, and
A
I feel like
lot
this
of them are in
happens
the
every
loss.
year.
You know,
Right.
like Netflix is hemorrhaging money. Amazon's been the hemorrhage. Like everybody, all these big companies, and everyone thinks
And
about.
it goes all the way to the bottom too.
Yeah.
Like even these, I believe, The Verge recently, like they laid off a part of their staff as well, and that was like a few hundred people, but still, it's a nice chunk of their staff. And that's been granted to Disney. They have probably millions of people on payroll, but for this certain thing, like you can't. There it is, Garth. Thank you. But with this certain piece of news, it's a bummer because, like what you said, they almost buried the lead themselves. They gave us the things that we wanted, right? What we wanted. They gave us, you know, the movies, and that's great. We love talking about the movies. But you know who doesn't probably want to talk about those damn movies? Those few thousand people that are going to get laid off.
Yeah. And as somebody that's a bit of a, well, victim's a big word, but just I've been on the receiving end of a layoff. Worked at Boeing for like 6-7 months, and they did a big layoff that was about 6,000-7,000 people. So similar level. And that was due to, you know, COVID, and obviously we're kind of finding our way out of that. But here's the thing: there's gonna be some restructuring, some big restructuring, and sometimes that's a really soft way of, you know, saying layoffs and things like that. But Bob Chapek dang near effed Disney into the ground. Bob Iger did not anticipate coming back to Disney and having to, you know, put a Band-Aid on a bullet hole. And he's had to do a lot because Bob Chapek was a very business over creatives person, and he brought in a lot of his money guys, right? And I think one of the first things that's just like when you get you know, a new president in office, one of the first things they want to do is undo everything the previous person did. Or, you know, J.J. Abrams after Rian Johnson. Now Rise of Skywalker was a hot mess, but it was definitely like, how much of The Last Jedi can we undo to try to fix this? There wasn't a lot of synergy.
Right.
So I do feel like a lot's going to change, and a lot of it from our vantage point is going to look really ugly. I think we're going to have to wait a while to see how the chips fall. I don't remember the exact amount. I know that this move was going to, over the course of like 12 months, in plural, save the company billions of dollars, which that sounds really cold. But when you're hemorrhaging money, when all these bad things, Disney Plus hasn't profited yet.
Right.
To the surprise of a lot of people, they've been in, and they knew that it was an investment. They're trying to work towards profit. Chapek
the
did
price
not
doubled of the damn streamer in a year. So
Chapek did not help expedite them getting to the profit margin. So, and Disney Plus was Iger's baby, so he wants to put a focus on that. But he did say in this meeting, I believe, the problem with Disney Plus is there's been too much focus on gaining subscribers and not enough focus on making money with the service. And I think what that means is like leveling out kind of the debt to income for Disney Plus, how much we're spending versus how much is coming in, finding a balance there. Iger, you know, love him or hate him, he's a smart businessman, and he knows when to make tough decisions. But, you know, he's the one that got us Marvel. He's the one that got us Star Wars. He was around for all that, him and Alan Horn. So this sucks. It sucks big, and there's no way to really, you know, soften the blow on that, especially for those people that are now looking for their jobs. Hopefully they have like experience in their field that help them do some kind of lateral transition to somewhere else. You know, when you say like, hey, I was X and X for Disney, who's not going to hire you, right? Or at least that's
right.
what I want to think. So I want to have I wouldn't say an optimistic spin on this, but a realist spin, and not just you know, the damning of the company and of Iger himself, because we'll see. You know, if it's just layoff after layoff and nothing good's really coming of it, then yeah, we can turn. There'll be sharks in the water, but I'm just, you know, telling everyone to take a breath for right now.
And it's weird. I mean, I shouldn't say it's weird, for lack of a better word, but when Iger was brought back after, you know, him being like, oh, I'm good, later, y'all, and he was brought back to run Disney again after the whole like Chapek stuff didn't work out, and now we're finally feeling those repercussions. Like, it's not just, oh, yo, Bob Iger's back. We all love Uncle Bob.
Number one Bob's back, and Bob's like, I gotta fix some stuff.
Yeah, he's like, just wait, guys. And this is what we've been waiting for, you know? Like, and they've been trying to save face for a while because, you know, a lot of these companies now, they're going to get flack again because of the big decisions that they make that put them in hot water.
Disney stock's about to skyrocket.
Right. So like Disney, like we're doing this thing, but here's some movies that you like. They're getting more of. And then there was like that piece of Bob Iger convinced promoter not to fire Feige in 2014 or 2015. It's like yo, okay, like I get why you're saying that, and it was funny because like folks I saw people like talking about that one piece, like, oh yo, like Isaac Perlmutter, like he was gonna fire Kevin Feige in 2015. It's like, whoa, yo, like dude, whether it's true or not, it's like like you gotta mask all these bad decisions that you're making. Not bad, but these not so great looking decisions that you're making. Because yeah, you're saving a bunch of quiche, but you're also Disney, and folks are going to be very hesitant to feel bad for you, if at all. So like these big companies having to lay folks off.
Yeah, maybe don't announce the layoff and the sequels within 24 hours of each other.
Yeah,
break that up a little bit.
Like, and I get why I get the medium of the investor call. I totally get that.
Yeah,
but can we not? Like, I think a separate call would be more than welcome.
And I think that's, again, talking about vantage points and things, that's something that comes across very disingenuous to us because we're like, whoa, these are two very different pieces of news here, and it's hard to be remotely excited about one when we're hearing, you know, how much shortcuts, or not shortcuts, but you know where I'm taking.
No, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yo, before we move on, before we talk about some lighter things, my God, Garth in the chat mentions that Isaac Perlmutter ruined Iron Man 3 by changing the main villain story because he wanted fire-breathing man for toys. I mean, I like that Perlmutter was going to fire Feige. And it's like, dog, who's the real villain here? That's the big thing. And Garth, by the way, did not like Eternals or Encanto either. I didn't dislike Encanto, for the record. Like, I thought the movie was good. The songs were the best part.
I was saying something about coming back Saturday, and I just saw something pop up on my schedule that I had forgotten about.
It's an Encanto screening. Like
Encanto back in theaters.
You can't miss that.
In my living room.
Yeah, it's like oh yeah, it's like me and the wife are gonna watch the Encanto live from the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, we already did. It was great.
I haven't seen it yet. And I want to watch it. That might be what I do when I get off of this.
Well, for somebody that just likes the music, that's what it was. So, right? Like,
dog. So, again, before we move on, quick side note. I was going to ask you this earlier too, and I forgot, and I'll ask you again because we have some time. But Encanto, when I first saw the movie, I remember Allison Salamoni. This is before we exchanged phone numbers. We were DMing each other on Twitter. And I just told her, like, yo, I'm going to go see Encanto. She's like, oh my God, what was your favorite song? And I told her, we don't talk about Bruno. I was on the train before I left the station with the hype. That song rocks. I love a good ensemble piece. But it was that one and
Surface Pressure.
Like that one.
Oh, yeah.
That one.
It's called either Butterflies or Caterpillar or something.
I love that track. But Surface Pressure she was like, oh my God, Chris, but Surface Pressure. That might have been my least favorite song in the entire soundtrack. Like, and I don't want to, it's not, I'm not trying to bury the sentiment of the song. It just was like, I don't know, just something I didn't like about it. I shouldn't say least favorite on the soundtrack. There are some other ones I wasn't a fan of, but I thought the hype for that was not.
My El Gato loves Encanto.
Yeah, you're El Gato. Oh, yes. Oh, but before I go on to the next thing, Jesse, we were talking about AMC not too long ago. What's the last movie you saw, if you ever have done this, in the front row? The very, very front row. I can tell you verbatim what it is.
I can tell you what mine was, and it wasn't AMC, though.
Okay, go ahead.
But this only happened because whenever a movie's my idea, you'll never catch me dead in the front row. right?
Sure.
I was out with somebody, and they're like, "We're gonna go see this movie." And by the time we went, the only thing that was there is like front row tickets. He's like, "I got your tickets. Don't worry. Just meet up with me. I got your tickets." And I came out. I was like, "Where are we sitting?" He's like, "Right there." I'm like, "The front row." Anyways, it was Revenant.
Oh,
a
Revenant.
Long movie. It's great.
He's looking up like this. You know?
Yeah, dude. My neck actually, like, people always like exaggerate, like, "Oh, you break your neck," dude. Yeah, that I've never been back to that theater since, because like even the front rows for like the AMC's now, they're still back a little bit, so you are looking up. But like this was like, I felt like I was just cracking my neck, like, and they didn't recline, right? It was a crummy older Regal, so I couldn't do anything but do this, and it was a mess.
Oh my god, it's horrible. By the way,
fourth row is prime real estate. That's where I sit.
I love all the Iron Man 3 love in the chat. One day we'll convince Jesse otherwise. But for me, and for those in the chat, I would love to hear y'all's first row movie. The last one that you saw. Me, imagine I was in high school. It was the year was 2014, I think. Me and my buddies. It's Valentine's Day weekend. Me and all my guy friends, we go to the movies because we think everyone's gonna be at the theater to see 50 Shades of Grey. So let's go see something else. Let's go see Kingsman, The Secret Service. And I get to the theater. We all buy our tickets, no reserved seats. We all walk into the theater. It is popping. It was like Endgame, or what was it equivalent at the time? It was like
2014. I don't know. Guardians.
Yeah, it was like Captain America: The First Avenger, not Captain First Avenger. The Winter Soldier was about to come out, right? It felt like that type of hype. It felt like a Marvel movie hype. Like, what the hell is going on here? Like, what for Kingsman? What? Y'all don't even know what this shit is. And I watched it like this, and it was a rowdy experience at the theater. And I quickly realized that was the day I realized not to underestimate moviegoers, especially couples on Valentine's Day weekend who do not want to go see BDSM on screen. So I learned that the hard way. Mike K said Age of Ultron was his last one in the first row. Age of Ultron, was that by choice? I want to say the first time I saw Age of Ultron was third or fourth, because I did the Avengers Age of Ultron double feature. I left school early to do it. It was awesome. And my last front row experience was Star Wars in 1977. I saw it over a dozen times, and once I got dropped off late, and that's all that was left. Valid.
Hey, that's a pretty good track record for not sitting in the front row after that.
Star Wars, Garth might have the best movie out of the bunch from the ones that were mentioned.
I mean, Revenant is pretty dang good.
Revenant's pretty good, but is it Star Wars good, dog?
Well, I don't know. There's a bear attack in Revenant, and then there's a
bear in A New Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Mike said it was not by choice. Okay, great. I'm just wondering. I'm just gonna wonder. But as much as I would love to talk about the horror stuff on the program this week, for the sake of time, I know we're going to have a lot to say about this going into tomorrow. Plus, we're going to hype up what we got going on the channel tomorrow. Let's talk about the Flash. We're getting this Flash trailer during the big game, the Superb Owl, tomorrow.
Yeah.
And for those who haven't seen it, just in case you missed it earlier, this is what we're working with, guys. Look at that. We're sitting in the first row or second row for this Flash poster.
Yeah.
We see the Batman 89 logo up there at the top. He's obviously in the Batcave. Worlds collide is the tagline at the bottom.
Did you ever play like SmackDown versus Raw back in the day, and they had the Worlds Collide song like in the main menu?
Oh, dog, yeah.
Worlds Collide. Sorry, that's every time I see something that says Worlds Collide, I was thinking that. Like, I was
watching SmackDown versus Raw gameplay last night. I promise you, it's not even a lie. But this new Flash thing, right? So we've been on a roller coaster with this movie for years. It was once going to be the linchpin of the Snyderverse, something like that.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be like the linchpin and next chapter of the Snyderverse, and then we obviously saw how that turned out. And then with the new release of Chapter one of the new DCU, what's the whole deal with the Flash now? Apparently, this is going to be what resets the universe. So this movie still has just as much importance as it did 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whenever it was announced, whenever it was supposed to happen, whatever. But this poster, Jesse, first thoughts when you saw it yesterday?
Well, I was like, it's better than the last few Marvel posters.
No floating heads. Not yet. Not yet.
I mean, it's also not overly creative because it's funny. I went on Google and I just went like Flash poster so I could find this image, right? And there's just this like crazy kaleidoscopic tie-dye like fan poster somebody made. It was the first result I saw. I was like, well, that's 1,000 times better. That's super sick looking.
Let's see if I can find it real quick, just so I can have a visual.
Yeah. Well,
Flash poster.
It's so, I don't know, frustrating is the right word, because obviously like Batman 89 was like my Batman, right? I love the Pattinson movie. I think obviously I think the Batman's a better movie, but like 89's always like it's my special Batman movie.
Yeah.
89 over Dark Knight for me, just because it speaks to my sensibilities.
Ooh.
It's just how I feel about Batman.
I don't disagree with you, dog.
And also the Jack Nicholson's Joker is closer to my Joker.
Okay.
Heath Ledger is a better performance.
I like
Nobody
that.
can take that away. But Jack Nicholson's just like, he's the Joker for me.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I want to see that world again. I hope we get some FaceTime with Michael Keaton in the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, everything that they've announced about this movie that doesn't involve Ezra Miller and the character of the Flash, I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. Like possible Michael Shannon returning as Zod.
Yes.
We have, I'm not going to mispronounce her name, but the new Supergirl looks great. That sounds fun. So there's a lot of like fun things happening. But we have 2 and now maybe 3 different Ezra Millers in this movie. I was like, oh, this just got like 3 times harder to watch. Because I could not be less interested in seeing a movie with Ezra Miller, because before all this came out, granted, I haven't seen Perks of a Wallflower or
I just watched that for the first time last week.
I forgot. There's
It's a
something
great movie, by the way, for those who haven't seen it. It's a great movie.
There's one like we got to talk about. I don't remember the name of it, but
We don't talk about Bruno.
Not that one. But out of what I've seen, which has been like Fantastic Beasts, Justice League, and
It's not a great track record for
a couple other
Ezra
things.
Miller.
I haven't liked Ezra in anything that I've seen them in. So I wouldn't be that excited for Ezra's performance if none of the stuff happened. But on top of it, the stuff happened. And the stuff has continued to happen for like 2 years. Now they're in recovery, and James Gunn's like, we fully support their transition during this time and going through all that. That's all fine and good. But it's like, if you announced a new Kevin Spacey movie, how jazzed am I going to be to see it? Not very.
Yeah. Okay. So that's.
But it's like, hey, Henry Cavill's returning as Superman in this Kevin Spacey movie. I'm like, well,
like now you're really like it's between a rock and a hard place. But in regards to this flick, right? Like there's a lot of up and downs, and Ezra's entire journey has been a part of the ups and downs and what they've been doing in their personal lives away from set. Because apparently if you ask anybody who was working on the movie, they had a great time doing it, and that the cast had a ton of fun, and they think it's the best movie ever. James Gunn said it's a great movie, and he can't wait to see it again. But in my eyes, I've always been, this is gonna be tough, especially if, which at this point I doubt, you have Ezra Miller be a part of the promotional process, even though he's your lead. It's going to be rough because you got to dance around everything you just said, Jesse, all the trials and tribulations that they've gone through in the last few years, since filming, since before filming, whatever. Like I said, I saw Perks of Being a Wallflower for the first time last week, and Ezra Miller is so damn good in that movie. Like they're so good. I love it. That and what else? I'm a big fan of the first Fantastic Beasts. I really am. And
I like the first one. Ezra's not why.
No, and that's also, yes. So this flick, it's going to be the nostalgia thing. That's what it's going to boil down to. like OMG, nostalgia, yeah. Because the second we see Michael Keaton in the damn bat suit, we're all gonna forget about everything.
Doesn't matter for front row seats or not. We're gonna be hooping and hollering.
And we're gonna be all giddy, and it's gonna be this whole thing, and it's horrible. That's just how it is.
Do you ever hate that about yourself? Because like I feel the same way. I'm trying to be as much of a realist, like curmudgeon about this, but I know when I see Michael Keaton, it's over.
Yeah, I want to, like, I would be lying to you if I said I'm not looking forward to watching the trailer tomorrow. Like I'd be sitting here lying right to your face.
It's one of the biggest question marks of the Superb Bowl, or
of the Superb Owl.
Superb Owl. Yeah. Even
though some bowls are superb, tomorrow's Superb Owl is going to be filled with a ton of trailers. John Lestrina, I saw you pop up in the chat at some point talking about Fast X. Sean reacted to that, and the reactions on the channel right now. Go ahead and check that out. I have not seen it yet. It's almost 4 minutes long. It's a pretty long trailer. But with The Flash tomorrow and this poster that we just saw now, I was giddy when I saw it yesterday. And again, my main point of emphasis is Batman and seeing what could have been with Michael Keaton as Batman in a different timeline where DC and Warner Brothers knows how to actually put together a cohesive universe. That's gonna be one of the bigger what ifs in film to me in my lifetime of the past 25 years.
It's also gonna be hard not to think about Michael Keaton film scenes for Batgirl. Like the same Michael Keaton's Batman. And it's like, so we got, robbed, I guess, a little bit of seeing even more of
apparently that movie was unwatchable. It was
They keep telling us, different people keep saying that. And I was like, can we talk about some of the movies you have chosen to release? And you still tell me this was unwatchable? Because I would argue
Brendan Fraser said that the movie was great.
Get its fair shake. Yeah.
But I guess he's supposed to say that. But
Suicide Squad 2016, I would argue, is unwatchable, but you put it in theaters anyways, and it still made $700 million. So why not just put it out?
It's crazy how my favorite part of that movie, of the Suicide Squad, is when they're like, "Hey, Deadshot, here are all these guns. Show us what you can do." And like Kanye West, black skinhead, plays in the background, and it's like the coolest thing on the planet. And then here I am 7 years later, like, oh. Like everything about that, just like I was like, oh man, like this is, damn it, that movie. I saw it twice opening weekend, but the Flash is this weird case, but this is the universe resetter that James Gunn kept hyping up, and that we get Blue Beetle later in the year. When are we gonna get Blue Beetle trailer?
Hopefully soon.
Please?
Yeah, rip Slipknot.
Who? Because the movie didn't tell you to give a shit about him.
No.
Definitely not. But
I'm interested to see the trailer
already
for Flash. Yeah. I hope we see something that at least makes me a little less pessimistic. If it could do that, then it's done more than its fair share of work. If I don't hate the movie, if it leaves me feeling conflicted about Ezra and the good in the movie, then I'll call that a success.
Here, and before we go to recommendations real fast, Jesse, 2 questions. A, have you watched any of the Superb Owl trailers that are supposed to be dropping tomorrow but already dropped on the internet?
Not yet, no.
What are you looking forward to the most?
There's gonna be Guardians. Probably, I'm going to say The Flash because it's the most unknown quantity. Everything else we've seen something. I think there's nothing else that's premiering, right? Everything else, like we've seen some Dungeons and Dragons, we've seen some 65 Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm trying to think if there's any more announcement trailers.
Let me see. Go through the notes real quick of what happened last week. Did we talk about that? I don't think we did. No,
so we didn't. Anything that we've seen nothing from so far. And yeah, The Flash had a teaser trailer for like DC Fandom a while back.
Sure.
But, it wasn't much. So if we can get something with a little more flavor.
Okay. I've hated the trend of let's release the commercials and the trailers in advance. I hate that. So I'm waiting till tomorrow to watch everything.
Fair enough.
And even Fast X, sorry, John Lestrina, but I will wait till tomorrow to watch it. But I saw one little snippet of John Cena doing the attitude adjustment to somebody, and the dude fell through 2 floors through a building. And I said, yup, that's why I love those movies. That right there. That's exactly why. because John Cena is going to punch someone through a wall into the ocean. It's going to be awesome. But last but certainly not least, Jesse, do you have any recs? What are you watching lately, dog? What's good?
I'll tell you what I just watched last night. For those of you that are fans, or if you haven't watched yet, the Harley Quinn animated show. Super great, fantastic, and no better way to spend time with your significant other or by yourself than by watching the Harley Quinn Valentine's Day special that came out a day or two ago. So just watch that. That was a lot of fun. Other than that, started rewatching The Sandman with one of our friends. Chris still hasn't done that yet, so I will continue to recommend The Sandman. Not enough people watch Rings of Power. I have a lot of retroactive recommendations, I guess. There's not a lot of new things that I'm watching at the moment because I'm kind of Last of Us, obviously. Last of Us. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of new that I'm taking in at this moment, waiting for, a new Marvel show. Mandalorian season 3 is right around the corner.
A few weeks, yeah.
March 1st, I think, something like that. Garth says, watch The Sandman, Chris, in all caps with an exclamation mark. Get on it.
We have plans. There are plans in place for me to watch Sandman, and we're doing it. I think I can say this bit. I can't give you any more details about it, but there's a way we're going to do it to where folks can watch it with me if they want to. So we'll announce more as we figure it out, but it's going to happen. I promise. It might end up being on a Saturday after a show, just like this one. But
Chris Anthony Lopez.
Yeah. So recommendations. I talk about retroactive recommendations. I popped on Justice League, the animated series.
Oh, the OG.
Yes, the original.
With the great intro.
Yes. Bum, bum, bum. It's so cool. I popped it up at the crib, and it's great.
James Gunn, that's the blueprint. There you go.
But I jumped over to Justice League Unlimited so I can watch the episode with Booster Gold, The Greatest Story Never Told.
Okay.
Because I think it's a beautiful piece of TV about Booster, especially with the announcement of Booster Gold coming in live action to HBO Max. I felt like it was appropriate, and I recommended someone because one of my buddies, she asked me, she's like, Chris, have you caught up with Harley Quinn on HBO Max? I said no. I watched the first few episodes and it just wasn't for me, Maybe I got to give it another go, but at the time I wasn't feeling it.
It's a strong vibe, so it's possible it's not your vibe, but within the first 5, you should have like a pretty good idea because the tone doesn't really change.
And I watched the first 3 or 4, and I'm like, I'm good, but maybe I should try it again. Because I wanted to like it, and I like what I've seen, in bits, the jokes. I like that stuff, so I'm like, maybe I should give it another go.
Bane has me in stitches all the time. I don't know if you got to where they introduced Kite Man, who ends up being Poison Ivy's boyfriend for a little while, but they're at a birthday party for this little kid, and I don't remember the exact scenario, but Kite Man comes in and tries to punch Bane or something, and Bane grabs him by the leg and just starts smacking him into the ground Hulk style and punching the hell out of him. And Joker's like, drop him. And Bane's like, but he was attacking me. And I peed a little. I was laughing so hard.
I gotta give it another go.
Being the Streamlabs monitor that I am, we do have a Streamlabs from the only, I almost said Garth Anthony Lopez. Garth McMurray.
Is that our ship name, Garth?
Yeah. Donated $1. Thank you so much. And in all caps, he said, "Watch The Sandman, Chris."
Okay. The first conversation I'm gonna have with the Flickin' group chat is, when can we plan Chris watching The Sandman? We're gonna do it. And I said a long time ago that when we get to 1,000 subs, I would do a live stream for it. We hit 1,000 subs a month ago.
Do we should plan a day out and just have you do just one of those 24-hour streams and it's just a long binge,
Sandman.
And then you can have a little banner updating. It's episode 1, episode 2, and then we just cut it out later.
We'll discuss it and we'll figure out the nitty gritty. But my Saturdays after Flickin' Reels news and views are very open nowadays. So maybe we'll have to figure that out. But thank you, Garth, for the donation. But I mentioned Harley Quinn because my buddy told me to watch it, and she's like, "Oh my god, you should watch it, Chris." And I say that because she didn't know, Garth. Garth, I love you.
Garth's the best.
With the $2
Garth's doing
super
the Lord's
chat.
work.
Thank you, Garth.
Or sorry, the Lord of Dreams work, I should say.
Thank you, Garth. I appreciate the love, and I will watch Sandman. I promise, and we'll announce it on the channel the second we get it situated.
It'll be a big deal.
It'll be a big deal, especially I've been clowned for months about Sandman. Speaking of other event shows I haven't seen, Andor, and I've not watched the second of The Last of Us. So, but I've heard nothing but great things about all of those, and I'll watch them all in a 72-hour stream one of these days.
And Rings of Power, right?
And Rings of Power, yes.
Dude, it just you have nothing but great TV to watch.
And one day I can't wait. I can't bring myself to watch a movie at the crib, let alone a TV show. But my recommendation, besides Justice League, the OG series on HBO Max, another animated series, because talking about Harley Quinn, my buddy didn't know Harley Quinn's first appearance
Batman the Animated Series.
It was in Batman the Animated Series. I believe the episode was called Joker's Favor. So go ahead, watch Batman the Animated Series if you've never seen it, or just watch the episode with Harley Quinn in it, where she makes her first appearance, because it's kind of jarring that Harley's first appearance was in 91, and like she's become this staple of DC Comics ever since.
What other super big popular character debuted in animation?
Oh, are we talking? I don't want to look at the chat just in case the chat knows.
Marvel.
In animation?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man! Oh wow! I feel like I'm about to learn something. Wait a minute.
Well, if you didn't already know, I can help. All right.
Okay, give me a hint. Give me a hint.
It's an X-Men character.
Oh, it's an X. I wouldn't have done an X person. No, there's no way. Okay, I have a guess. I'm probably wrong.
Okay.
Jubilee?
As far as I know, but X-23.
No
X-23
way!
debuted in X-Men Evolution.
Wow!
For like 2 episodes, but then now we have Lara in Logan.
Yeah.
She got huge in the comics, so she's got her own comic run and all
Totally.
those. She's like the current Wolverine, but no, she debuted on X-Men Evolution.
That's awesome. Hell yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Recommendations and facts. Jeff Alterman. Wait, there's news and views here? Not anymore. We're wrapping up, so go watch that on the retro.
We are wrapping it up here on news and views. But again, thank you all so much for joining us, whether you're joining us now, like our boy Quiz Show in the chat. What's going on, Quiz? Haven't seen you in a minute. But before we bounce, again, make sure you like the video. You comment down below if you're watching this after the fact, or if you're watching this on a live stream, let us know of your thoughts post-show on the video. Leave a comment, share it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications every time we go live and post videos just like this one. Jesse, any last words before we wrap it up here?
Everyone, tell Chris he's doing an awesome job taking over hosting responsibilities, buddy. You're doing fantastic. Comment and say Chris is the best. We love that.
No,
and then we can go and like our own comments. But yeah, just make sure to follow us on our respective spots. You know, you got @Jesse Swift here on the tweeters, and you got Chris Anthony Lopez at C Anthony Lopez, soon to be C Sam Anthony Lopez. We'll see about that. But yeah, guys, follow us on all the things that we're doing. Tomorrow we'll be posting several trailer reactions and stuff. And remember that Valentine's Day is coming up, so spend it with your loved ones, or just buy yourself a box of chocolate and watch I don't know, something good like The Sandman. All right, guys, until next time, keep it real from Jesse and Chris. Chris, do you have any last words?
Jubilee was created by Chris Claremont, writer, and artist Mark Silvestri, first appeared in the Uncanny X-Men number 244 in May of 1989.
The more you know.
The more you know. Bye, guys. I love you all so much. Later.